This is brought to you by Forethought, building AI agents for every customer moment.
All right, welcome, Matt and Victor. Theme of this discussion is the visual Turing test. And I guess first I'll let you talk through your company, since I've got two of the world's premier experts on visual AI, and then would love to get into the main topic. So Matt, you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Matt. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Photoroom, and Photoroom is one of the big AI image editor out there in the world. And in one sentence, we are the AI creative agency for all commerce. That's one of our focus, from Cytosol to Amazon, DoorDash, Depop, who are using Photoroom too.
Nice. Victor?
Yeah, I'm Victor from Synthesia, CEO and co-founder with the world's largest AI video platform for businesses. And we essentially help your everyday office worker who used to use PowerPoint to create videos instead. It all started with avatar technology that you may be familiar with, which we invented 5 years ago. But since then, we've evolved from being an avatar platform to really being a video platform for the enterprise. So we help you through the entire value chain. We help you replace the camera with avatar models. We give you an editor, kind of like using PowerPoint or Canva. We give you a collaboration platform, content management, translation, and we also give you a publishing platform with a video player that we've made for AI native video. We work mostly with the enterprise. We do the boring side of AI video, I would say. Product marketing, custom support.
Wait, what's the boring side versus the exciting side? Like, could you give me the spectrum? Okay, it's not Hollywood films.
And entertainment and storytelling.
Okay.
It's more kind of business content, I would say. And we work with...
I feel like this audience will find that exciting. Yeah. It's a good group.
And yeah, we work with 72% of the Fortune 100, lots of the world's biggest brands. Essentially, the reason we've been successful is really because we've enabled anyone to make videos really quickly.
All right. So the visual Turing test, the idea that can we tell what we're seeing in images and in video? I guess first question, as a consumer AI image founder, have we passed it? Are you seeing that your images are going by consumers and they have no idea they're AI? Is there some sort of uncanny valley we're reaching the other side of? Where's your perspective on how close we are to not being able to tell that anything's AI generated?
Yeah, I think on generation, I think we're close to passing it. On the pure craft, the editor level, one of our big and early customers, to give you an example, is the director of photography at Volt, one of the big European food marketplaces.
Okay.
He was doing photography, it's his craft. He's been doing that for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And we did some tests with him, do you know AI, not AI? He's still he fails on a bit.
You did the hot dog, not hot dog test?
Exactly.
With the food photographer? Which foods was he looking at out of curiosity? Were there specific ones that he's an expert at, or?
No, he failed on pasta, something very
He failed on pasta?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, there's this 50-50.
He's not Italian, I take it.
No, that's right. He's American.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good one. That's true. So I think on the generation, it's very difficult to tell. Pure static, edit. You can't tell, and and on background removal, one thing we do with AI, AI does a better job than humans. So it's actually, if it's better quality, it is probably AI. That's the level we are at.
Okay.
Right now.
So if it looks better, it's probably AI.
Yeah, that's kind of
because you can get the lighting and the shadows and the color and everything just perfect, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting. And so you're sort of alluding to one of your core use cases, I guess, food photography. Who are the other power users? Who's using Photoroom the most and who's getting the most value out of it?
Yeah, we started in 2019, and one of the early core use case was helping merchant selling, and that's what we specialize on. So we have a different approach where we have a layer-based, not generating all image at once, which makes it for an important use case about trust. When you do e-commerce on marketplace, you don't want to lie on your product. Most of the decision of buying something is around the image. And AI has always been about inventing, hallucination. It's still here. You create a salad, and maybe there's some accidental peanuts that get in there, and then you get a lawsuit, and then you're not happy about what you're doing. So we really focus on trust AI on the imagery, where we don't change the pixels, we don't lie on anything. So it is convenient, but at the same time, we kind of do the setup that is AI-based, and this makes it more it's a very specific trust-based e-commerce use case.
That makes sense. Yeah, so Victor, within the enterprise, do you feel like we've passed the Turing test? When people use your training, AI avatars, your sort of video replacement use cases, do the customers care that it's AI? Can they tell that it's AI? Does it just not matter in the end because ultimately you're creating new value? Like, what's your perspective on this?
There's many different ways of evaluating, kind of where we are on the Turing test. I guess if the criteria is purely can you generate videos with AI that people cannot tell are AI, I think that's a resounding yes.
Right.
I think we've all seen that, especially the last 3 to 6 months. I think we've clearly passed that, right? Now, I think the asterisk to that is that one thing is like seeing a cool demo on Twitter, on Instagram, which blows all of our minds.
Yeah.
The other thing with Matt just touched on is like, if you have a real use case that's utility-driven, not like novelty-driven or like demo-driven, then it's a very different set of functionalities you need, right? In your case, for example, you need to generate salads that actually follow the recipe. Otherwise, it's not a very useful picture of a salad, right? If you create an avatar on Synthesia, you want that avatar to always look exactly like the same avatar.
Okay.
If you're a PowerPoint user who are trying to make a video, not a creative director, you also don't want to prompt 20 times to get something that works, right? It needs to work instantly and it needs to be very fast. So I think depending on what use case you're tackling, you'll have a different set of criteria that are really important. If you're making Hollywood films, again, identity preservation, you want to have the same actor playing the main character all the way through. So people make jumps around this, right? You can make cool content with it, but there's still like lots of things I think that are missing before we can say that it's a kind of a fully mature technology.
Got it. Yeah, and we heard earlier from Philippe, and he was saying you guys have trained your own models. Is it to focus on those kind of specialized needs, that specifically the character consistency, or like what did you feel like you had to do on your own that no other video model was doing well, and how does that, sort of create this new business opportunity for you guys?
I mean, I think you want to be very intentional about like what game are you playing, and we're definitely not playing the foundation model game. We're playing the application layer game, right? Okay. So everything I do, I work backwards from a use case and a workflow of one of my customers. And if it makes sense to train our own models, we'll do it. And if it doesn't, we'll find something out there in third party. We'll wait for other models to mature, right? We train our own models. We have 50 people, working on that, and I think that definitely still makes sense to do because, as you said, right, we need a specific mix of like quality, identity preservation, latency, a whole bunch of other things that are important to our customers when they use our product. But I'm not staring about the fact that I don't think that's a moat, right? I think everything we do here is essentially a go-to-market advantage. If I have the best avatar model that's the best to use for a specific workflow, and I can bring that to market 6 or 12 months before my competitors, that is worth millions of dollars, right? So that's more my perspective on this, more than it's like, I think that's where all the value in Synthesia accrues. So I think I'd say we take a very practical perspective to it, and I think we will continue to train models for a very long time. But I think you want to be very specific around, like for us, we care about humans talking to the cameras in business videos. That's the only thing. I don't care about dogs skateboarding on the beach or stormtrooper vlogs and all the cool stuff that you're seeing. That's not really a core part of our product. So that's how I kind of view that. But we also bring in other models from third-party providers for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in digging into that model point more because obviously I think Google's VO3 seemed like it was kind of a quantum leap forward, at least in terms of, stormtrooper vlogs really took over the internet and dog skateboarding in a way that I'd never seen before. And I'm wondering, like, was that a moment for you guys as sort of insiders in this industry where you're like, hey, like, suddenly this third-party model is just, whatever, 50 times better than anything we've seen before, particularly at, I think, humans talking, to your point, was something that I had never seen done particularly well by one of the video models. Obviously, you guys are way ahead of that. Like, was that a moment where you're like, oh, okay, well, from now on, I think like, Google and DeepMind and Gemini may be leading the way on these video models, or do you just feel like it's back and forth, and some use cases you use your own, some use cases you fine tune, some cases you use third parties? And I guess same question for images as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, you do have this like major, every year, every 6 months, you get a major breakthrough. It's like every like 2 weeks, Maybe that size, I guess every year. Size, like VO3. On image side, you would have GPT image, GPT-4 image, that was a major breakthrough, and we actually incorporated in Photoroom because it was other use cases. I would describe it as like, finally, you have people that think in the visual space, like an interior designer can be like replaced by an AI at some level. That wasn't the case before, and it's like a major breakthrough in the things you can do. And so in this case, as Victor said, like we take what's off the shelf, API, open source, integrate it in the app, and then like look at what our core users, like e-commerce, are asking for, and how do we
how do we adapt to like what they're asking? Like, is it less? Is it faster? Is it that they need more accuracy on some dimension? Is that because they do like 10,000 images at once, and we will retrain if it doesn't get better, something that is more specific to this use case. But yeah, like all the time you have new things, and you need to. The app layer is where we're like what we're addressing, like you, and it's like, okay, how do we make it at the app layer level better for our users, and how do we incorporate it and make it specifically for our users all the time?
Okay, yeah. I mean, for you specifically, I guess I'm interested in corporate training video space. Was VO3 this quantum leap forward where you're like, oh, we're going to use much more of the Gemini model series, or was it sort of just another step along the way of what you've already been seeing?
Yeah, no, I think that was definitely like a big leap, right?
Yeah.
Since then, we've then seen a bunch of other models come out, and I think the exciting thing is that there's now a path to how you actually make this stuff work, right? Obviously, the amount of like compute the Gemini team and DeepMind team has access to dwarfs like most startups, even at the stage that we guys operate at. But I think there's a path to it. I think what we always see is, right, open source will catch up. It will probably take 6 to 12 months. But at some point, right, we're going to start to reach a degree of saturation, like I would argue we've done on text models, where there's still big leaps, and they will improve a lot from where they are, right? Where we're not seeing like 5-10x leaps in text models anymore. But with video, it feels like we're just like now on the ramp up. And at some point, the next, my guess would be 12 months. We're going to start to see saturation, like VO3 level of quality, which is pretty good. It's trained with audio as well, so you get the kind of speech component to it. And then I think it's all about, again, putting it into applications, right? Like right now, from what I've heard most recently, is like it costs like $250 per minute of content for VO3, right? Which means that if you're making a corporate training video, that's not a very feasible product, right? And you don't need the capabilities you have in it, right? That's a very different set of things that you need. But and I think the other thing that's interesting, I think, is like it is a path towards like less separate modalities and training these more kind of like world models or models that could do more than just like spit out an image, spit out a video, give me some text to speech, like do some reasoning on the text layer. And I think that's going to be a big trend the next couple of years.
Do it all kind of mixed together. I mean, I was interested, we talked before, and it sounds like in a lot of ways you have kind of invented a new category of corporate communications, right? And that like people, you said historically would use a Word doc or a Google doc or a PowerPoint or whatever to disseminate some information within a business. And now it's like, oh, cool, like I can make a video, people will pay more attention to it. It's more, entertaining to make. You can add more, zest and verve to it and everything. Like, you mentioned trainings a bunch of times as one of your core use cases. Like, are there other things you're seeing within companies where people are like, oh, I used to do this with text, or I used to not do it at all because it was too painful, or some other use case where you're seeing, oh, video actually is a much better way to do this within a business. Like, I would imagine you're starting to see these cutting edge applications of your tools.
Sure. Well, I think the umbrella of content we work in is like educational content or knowledge content, which is distinct from like storytelling, entertainment content, right?
Sure.
And what we're seeing here really is just that, I mean, almost for any use case, like 52% of all the content we create today is external facing. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's like the ads you put on social media or on cable TV. Right? Okay. It will very often be, you have the big brand moments, which are real videos, or maybe using other video models. Then you come to a website and you want to learn more about a specific case study. That case study is no longer a long page of text. Or you're a consumer and you want to try to understand how to take out a mortgage. Instead of being met with 10 pages of text, most people, probably in this room, but the average person on the street, has a very difficult time comprehending that information. Yeah. That's better served as a video, right? So it is marketing, customer support, it's training, etc. I think for us, there's one way that I think about this is that there's sort of one big opportunity, which is all the content in the world that's already video today. How can you drive the marginal cost of creating that to zero, right? So that would be your Hollywood films, your key brand moments, all the content that already exists today. That is one opportunity, and there's a lot of companies that are targeting that. That's more entertainment, storytelling driven, I would say. Okay. Then there's one which is enterprise knowledge, which is all the world's content that today lives in slides and text. How can we turn that into video and audio content that's easier for people to consume, right? Yeah. And I think there, the innovations needed is different. The first one, it's about like character consistency, deep editing, making sure you can like have lots of consistency across scenes, etc. For us, it's more about making video into something new that's interactive. You can talk to the video. Yeah. It changes, it personalizes based on who you're on.
So the next time I get a mortgage, am I going to be talking to an AI-generated image or video that's explaining to me the vagaries of my mortgage instead of getting handed a giant pile of docs?
Exactly. And it'll be
how far out are we from this AI video mortgage life? Yeah.
3 or 4 months or something like that.
3 or 4 months. No, I mean like not possible, but like an actual, a large bank doing mortgage lending with AI video? You're saying 3 or 4 months out there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think
are we like breaking news on this front, or is it already in the pipeline?
I think what we know today of like this is just combining the visual modality, the idea of like structured conversations in PowerPoint style formats, right?
Sure.
And you have an agent that walks you through it. So I don't think it sounds. I mean, from where we are today, I actually think it's as sci-fi as it may sound.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to start off with you doing a full mortgage application with an AI, right?
Right. Okay.
But the first screening of if you're eligible to get a mortgage screening, if the bank can say, let's just run 2,000 calls every single day with consumers and just filter out the ones that are the best leads so that our sales team is more productive,
okay.
that's step one, right? And then maybe
Sure.
step two is in a couple of years, you begin to actually do more of the process automatically.
So Matt, I mean, similar question. What are you seeing are the sort of cutting edge emergent use cases of AI video and images in terms of e-commerce or food or sort of whatever the sort of interesting spaces that are maybe at the edge of these new applications?
Yeah, I think it's a similar concept of like the first stage is like how do you rescue imagery? Like how do you make sure like I mentioned marketplace, how do you make sure the level of imagery in your marketplace is reaching your brand guidelines that you want. And so that's what we're helping today. And
Sure.
like you get like 50% of the images were crap. We're already helping people get like a 10% increase in like people listing because they're confident of the images good enough, and then it actually sells more.
Okay.
And if you take the mortgage,
Are these like Shopify stores, or what kind of marketplaces are we talking about?
it's mostly like C2C marketplaces.
Okay,
So Depop we work with,
got it.
DoorDash.
Okay, got
Uber
it.
Eats like
Okay.
marketplaces.
All right, yeah, makes sense. Sorry.
And what we start to see, like we worked on with Smartly, for instance, is like you combine different elements. So let's say you just bought some pasta, and then you want to feature that with like a can of soda with that, and we generate automatically the image that combine both of them. So it's kind of this idea of combinatorial, customized packages that will adapt to what is the discount, where you live, what you like. Same way in email, like you use the name of the person, like you start to have imagery that is customized. I do think we'll start with segments though. Like I don't think you get like you have 1 million users, you'll start doing 1 million videos or imagery. You'll do, okay, I have like 20 persona, let me build that 20 campaigns. And really, it's easy to do marketing ops tomorrow.
So I use DoorDash a lot. Like, what percentage of DoorDash food photos today that I see are AI enhanced or generated in some way?
Yeah, it's getting like a significant portion, like double digit. Yeah.
Okay, like 10%, 20%, 50%?
Yeah.
But like you scroll through DoorDash, you probably have a fine eye for these details. Like, can you tell, like, oh, this restaurant's just using 100% AI generated imagery?
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
Okay.
Like, And what we do, again, like what we do is we don't change the food. Like for food marketplace, we would keep the food, but your ugly like plastic white container.
Yeah.
We take it away and replace it with a plate.
Okay.
Not touching the pixels of the food.
Yeah.
We replating your food.
And are you planning to work with DoorDash, to your point, to have these segments of saying like, oh, this person really likes seeing pepperoni pizza on a black background versus this one likes seeing it on a white background, and so we're going to just A/B split these pepperoni pizza images so that we sell more of this on a day-to-day basis. I'm honestly interested. This is fascinating.
The first part that happens is like you go. I mean, for instance, my sushi, like he switched from the marketplace because he was tired of having exactly the same stock photography as his neighbor. So the first step is actually making the seller feel proud about what they're selling. Like, okay, this is my universe, this is my story, this is why I started this restaurant. How do you incorporate these elements so you don't get like commoditized stock photography level photos for your shop?
Okay.
And then if you're like during the lunch or during dinner, is it work? Is it like a romantic dinner you're looking for? Like we can adapt to that. I think that's the next step after that.
I guess, last question for you, Victor. Like within a company, similarly, like what percentage, how many times a day am I going to be watching an AI-generated video that's explaining something to me like 5 years from now? Is it daily, hourly, every 5 minutes, everything I do? Like what percentage of the corporate experience is going to be consuming AI-generated video, 5 years down the road?
I think it'll probably mirror your personal life, right? So I mean, I don't know that well, but when I look at my own like media mix of like what I consume, I consume mostly podcasts, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, Instagram photos. I also do read, but way less than I did 5 years ago, and I think that'll be kind of mirrored in the workplace. It could be hard to imagine exactly what it's going to look like, but I truly think that is clearly what people prefer when no one just tells them what to do. And so I think that's what we're going to see in the workplace as well. And I have this, often very provocative to people idea that your kids are not going to be reading and writing; they're going to be watching and listening almost exclusively. And I think that is going to happen.
I'm teaching my daughter to read right now.
But I think at some point, I think text will just feel a bit like vinyls or something, right? Or like we'll do it sometimes because it's like a fun, nostalgic thing. But for actual information dissemination, it's going to be like a very low bandwidth compared to the
You have text-based journalists in the room. You shouldn't be saying this. Anyway, well, thank you so much, Matt and Victor. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's talk more about this later.
Thank you.
Thank you.